everyone, welcome to Botanical Brutality. Today we'll be repotting this pitcher plant. It's a tropical pitcher plant. It's not the one we get here in North Carolina. This is the Nepenthes. This is, I say tropical, still a pitcher plant there. You get some really nice pictures. I just bought this one not just a few days ago at Red's gardening center. So we're getting ready to repot it. It's something that I like to do just because the soil is unknown. I don't know who their supplier is. I don't know who gets them there. I've had really good luck. I do have another plant that came from there that is doing amazing. But yeah, so this is a Nepenthes. Don't know the variety. I'm still fairly new to this, so bear with me as we learn. However, if you don't know anything about this plant, this is a carnivorous plant, which means it's metal as fuck. It has these pictures where things climb into it. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Things climb into that, little bugs, insects. Some can get pretty big enough to eat mice. Haven't seen any of those in person yet, but they are pretty awesome. Just things climb in there and then they can't get back out. There is some liquid. It's hard to see with the camera, but maybe if I hold it up to the light there a little bit, maybe you can see it. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, there is liquid inside of those, and basically all it is it decomposes the bugs as they climb in there. The pictures are part of the leaves, but what does it mean to be carnivorous? It's not like us where we just eat, we would eat meat. So basically it's that means is it gets its nutrients from the food that it consumes, the bugs, all that stuff that climbs in there and it decomposes. It doesn't, unlike other plants, carnivorous plants do not get food or nutrients from its roots. They just get it from its pitchers, whatever traps in there. These plants are tropical, which means they don't like a lot of, they like high humidity. For this variety anyway, there are different varieties. Some of them even grow underground where you don't even see the pictures because they will be underground. So join me as we will be repotting this. The things that we will need are some orchid. I like to use orchid moss, but basically sphagnum moss. That's what I like to use. I'll use a couple of bowls just to mix it in. Some perlite, which I don't have right in front of me, but we'll be using some perlite along with that. And some distilled or RO water. I happen to have RO water. I do have an RO system in my house. So we'll be doing that, and we'll be putting it in this badass little cup here. Found this at Goodwill for I think 50 cents or $1 maybe. So we'll be using that. I have drilled a hole. I don't know if you can see that. You can see my face through it. Drilled a hole for drainage. So again, since these plants do not get their nutrients from the roots, they have to get, they get it, otherwise they'll lose their carnivorous state. They get it from the bugs. So we won't be putting anything with nutrients into it. We'll just be using the sphagnum moss, which has virtually no nutrients. You do have to watch out for that. Some of this will have other stuff. I've had really good luck with the Better Grow and other carnivorous plants. That's what I use on most of my carnivorous plants. But some brands may have some of that. All you gotta do is rinse it really well to get rid of all the extra nutrients, extra stuff. And the perlite that I use does not have anything extra either. It's a good idea to rinse that as well. I think it's messy, so I usually don't. So join me as we do that. Oh, and I am wearing Angel Massacre. I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go. Let me back up a little bit. This awesome band. It is a local band to me. Some of the members live very close to me. Same county. It's really awesome. And they were so kind to provide the video, or I'm sorry, the song. I had to get in touch with them. Bloody from Angel Massacre. Very awesome guy. Was gave me the okay to use their song for the intro. So give them a listen. I will be linking them or linking their Facebook and their YouTube and what else, all their media, social medias in the comment section or in the description of this video. So just give them a listen, support. They are a local black metal band. They have amazing sets, amazing shows live. Every so often they have awesome house parties. The best I can describe it, really brings back that old school black metal family feeling to the whole scene. Again, Angel Massacre from North Carolina. Give them a listen, and let's get set up. Let's get started. All right, so from here on out, you'll just see my hands and the stuff that I am using. You'll see me occasionally just putting up the plants just so we can see it. There we go. All right. And so in this case, the roots are all in there. It does have roots. As I mentioned, it doesn't need to feed through them, but it does like to get water through them. The medium that we use has to stay constantly moist, but not soggy wet. Right now what I did is remove most of I believe they use some peat moss, which is completely fine. I do have some other ones in peat moss. But, just trying some new things here. I think what we're going to do is we are going to hydrate the orchid moss, or the sphagnum moss. I apologize, I keep calling it the wrong thing. To do that, I think the best approach is I'm just going to fill this out with, put it in there, and just kind of, not too tight, but pack it in there, getting rid of some of this sticks that you find along the way. There we go. And so, and just a little bit extra, because once you get it wet, it will be able to pack even further. All right. So there's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it into my distilled or RO water and just let it soak for just a second here. Okay. There. And all the sphagnum moss, I got it right this time, all that is going to do is just keep the moisture against the roots without making it really without having to keep all that water next to there. So once you get it nice and hydrated, all we're going to do is just kind of squeeze some of the water out of it, and I'm going to put it on my other bowl. Reason for that is coming right up. We're going to mix in our perlite, and perlite will just help us keep nice or aerate the moss, because it can get a little tight and packed on there, right? So as you can see, it does create a little bit of a dense solution. So the perlite, all it's going to do is help us keep that from getting too tight. So I'm using this brand, horticultural perlite. Any brand that you want to use is great. Just make sure it doesn't have a lot of contaminants on there. What I'll be doing is adding it on there just like so, and just kind of working it into the sphagnum moss. As far as what ratio, I don't know the exact number. I just go by feel. Just whatever your heart feels like is right. Usually that ends up being somewhere between 30% to even up to 50% in some cases, depending on the plant, of perlite. But I do like adding it on most of my plants just because it just creates that aeration. It lets a lot of oxygen into the roots, which is always a good thing for those plants. You don't want to create root rot, and I have lost some plants to root rot in the past because I neglected to add stuff like this. Just a simple adding of that. That's all it would take, and that looks about right. As you can see, the mixture there, you have a lot of perlite and really nice consistency. I don't know what the percentage of that would be. I don't think it's quite 50, but maybe around 20 to 30%. So that looks about right. No, still has some stagnant or some sitting at the bottom there. Okay, I'll get this out of the way. So all I'm gonna do right now, excuse me, let's grab my container. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yep. Then I'm gonna add some of the sphagnum and perlite mixture to the bottom. I'm gonna kind of hold this just roughly where I want it to land. You don't want it to be too far down where when you water it'll pull up a little bit, which should drain pretty fast, so it shouldn't matter. But I also kind of want it to look like, be cool if it was like a little bit of hair coming out of that, right? I think that'd be pretty awesome. So I'm gonna bury it about right there. I think that looks perfect. If you can see, maybe you can or cannot. Right, that looks about right. Looks pretty cool. I think pretty badass. And then I'm just gonna backfill, I guess if you call it that. I'm just gonna fill the rest of it up with sphagnum moss mixture that I just made. And as you can see, I probably didn't need as much as I made, but it's better to have too much than too little. It's hard to go back and get it mixed right after you're done. So now, as I mentioned, a lot of people do like to go back or rinse their perlite. I don't necessarily like to do that. Nothing against if that's what you do. That is actually, you probably should be doing that. I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of contaminants, even if you get really good, high quality stuff. I'm sure there are still a lot of contaminants that you may not want in there necessarily. But the reason I don't do that is because after I'm done potting it, what I like to do is go back and just rinse it. I'll show you guys that. All right, I think that looks about perfect. So I am pressing it down because it is a little dense. Oh, I'm gonna have to add a little bit more. Okay. Well, I did end up using most of it actually. So hooray, not a lot of waste there. And it actually doesn't go to waste. I either throw it in my compost or I end up using it with another plant or what have you, right? I try not to waste. I hate wasting stuff. All right, so I'm just gonna toss that back in there, clean it up a little bit, and voila! We do have this badass little skull there. It has a hand, like a skeleton hand on this side. I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe if I move it over, that, and it looks like a little mug. So now it looks like it's got little hair. Put that picture out a little bit. I'll hurt it there. All right. And so if you have some clean water, I'm just going to use this as an example, but let's see how fast this drains. So just watering it. We should see that water come right down pretty fast. There he goes. So pretty fast draining. Sphagnum moss will stay nice and moist for the most part. So just doing some of the rinsing right here. And what I'll do is I will also run that through my fresh RO system. Again, you just don't want any extra contaminants on there or any extra food that the plant doesn't need. So I'm gonna let this drain very, very well. Actually gonna rinse it, and then we're just gonna find a little home for it for the time being. I like to put them outside in the summertime. They will sit outside in the summertime and get I don't like to put them directly in the sun because they start turning red, and sometimes the leaves may get a little burnt. So if you start seeing a little bit of redness there, that means that it's getting too much light. This one, unfortunately, was indoors, so it's still getting adapted to the outdoors a little bit. It will darken up in some areas and turn a little red. I like to put it somewhere where it gets morning sun, but after about 10 a.m. or so, it's a little shielded from the sun. And then in the winter, I bring him inside. It does not tolerate temperatures under about 55 degrees or so. I like to play it safe and keep it above 60. Wherever you put them, and of course well lit, bright areas, and that's all you need. It will, as long as it's well lit and it's the humidity is just right, it'll keep growing pitchers. If you notice that your pitchers are dying, then one of my plants did that this past winter because the humidity in my house dropped quite a bit. So that actually dropped more than I wanted it to. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and like, and also, again, check out Angel Massacre.